very, very seriously, and for working to marshal diplomatic and economic tools as well as military deterrence to prevent those nuclear weapons from being used and to prevent them from being weaponized and placed on an ICBM that could reach the homeland. I am cautiously optimistic that we are seeing early signs that China is helping and cooperating and reining in North Korea. It appears that President Trump's discussions with President Xi at Mar-a-Lago had some beneficial impact. Time will tell. We need to see if the Chinese will prove to be reliable participants in this process. But it remains very, very dangerous, and unfortunately there are a lot of outcomes in North Korea where if military conflict occurs, there could be a very, very significant loss of life.
Senator, what did you learn about any potential action?
Well, the military is obviously planning for a number of contingencies, as well they should, and running a full range from a more minimal military action to a far more significant military action. It is, of course, the hope of the administration, the hope of Congress, that military action does not prove necessary, that economic and diplomatic pressure will cause a change in behavior from the regime. But if there is a clear and imminent threat to the United States, our military needs to be prepared to act. I believe our military is prepared to act to keep our nation safe.
What can you describe the far more significant military action?
I obviously can't get into the details of a classified briefing. Suffice it to say, the military is doing their job of planning for all of the different contingencies, including contingencies where a conflict would escalate and escalate significantly. Obviously, that it is the hope of the President and the administration and Congress that we don't see that escalation. The preferred course is to avoid any military conflict, and I do think the best way to avoid military conflict is through a position of strength. I agree with Ronald Reagan, who described peace through strength, and I think the best way to minimize conflict with North Korea is for Kim Jong-un to understand unequivocally that if he launches an attack on the United States or our allies, or if he attempts to go forward with nuclear tests, to go forward with placing a nuclear warhead in an ICBM that could reach the American mainland, that the repercussions will be very significant. We would all like to see deterrence operate, and I think that's what the administration team is working very hard to do.
And President Trump stopped by. What was his message?
Very much the same. He welcomed senators to the White House. It was encouraging to see virtually every senator there, both Democrats and Republicans, and it was a long and detailed briefing. We had Secretary Tillerson, Secretary Mattis, and Director Coates, and General Dunford, who presented the briefing and walked through the diplomatic, the economic, and the military aspects of dealing with North Korea, and all of the steps we're taking to try to prevent that very dangerous situation from getting even worse and posing an even greater threat to our national security or the security of our allies, Japan and South Korea, both of which are in a very dangerous neighborhood and very, very much are directly at risk. So, thank you.
Thank you. It was fun riding on the bus.